Well, welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me, as always, are my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my other co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike.
We have a lot to discuss this week. We have a game review, so I want to talk about the game I've been playing called Razed. We got that from P-Cube, so we'll talk about that. We have some news. We have some news on the Soulja Boy's console.
We know you've been waiting anxiously for that.
Yes. Bad news.
It's basically a soap opera at this point.
It is. And then we got the games that we're playing, and then we got our hot topic. And the hot topic this week, since it's the first episode of the year, we'll be talking about what are 3 video game New Year resolutions we have for 2019. So we'll talk about that in our hot topic. But first, as always, we do have an icebreaker. And our icebreaker this week is, what is your favorite music from a video game? So I know, Mike, you came up with this question, and it was stemmed from people talking about music in games. Or I mean, obviously, I mean, like it came from
he
people
worked
talking about
really
music.
hard for this question,
Yeah.
Roger.
I know, he did. So why don't you give a little background of what your thoughts were on this hot topic?
So
icebreaker.
Yeah, so for the icebreaker, what I was kind of thinking of, so I was asking some of the other members of the Crossplay Compatible Network for any recommendations for any gaming soundtracks, because I'm in the market to listen to some new soundtracks. I think Monster Boy kind of kicked that in because I was just enjoying that music so much. So then that kind of led to my thoughts on, okay, so what are like some gaming soundtracks that you enjoy that nobody really knows about? That's kind of what I was looking for when I was asking them around. But so that's kind of where that stemmed from. But I obviously my favorite soundtrack is Mega Man 2. Followed closely by DuckTales, both for the NES. That Capcom those chip tunes are so good. Obviously Octopath Traveler recently has really interested me. One of the more obscure ones that I really enjoy, though, is the soundtrack to the Xbox game Stubbs the Zombie.
I am not familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with the game.
Yeah, it's where you play you play as a zombie in the 1950s, and you are trying to get your girlfriend back who's been kidnapped, to have experiments done on, and you basically bite people to create zombie armies.
Oh,
And
fun.
if I'm not mistaken, it used the Halo engine or the Halo 2 engine.
Wow, this sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty fun game. But the soundtrack, I really, really love the soundtrack. Actually, story time. I won the game from a radio station, and they sent me the soundtrack with the game.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, so I still have it now. And this game, it only has 13 songs, or the soundtrack only has 13 songs, and they're all remakes of 1950s radio hits by newer bands.
Oh.
So like Ben Queller was on it, Death Cab for Cutie, Phantom Planet, Flaming Lips, and they have such songs like Strangers in the Night. By this time Cake sings it. That's, have you ever watched I think it was in Stand By Me, that song Every Day. I'm not gonna sing it if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. What are we even doing here then?
Yeah.
That got me into a band called Rogue Wave out of California, because their version of it was so melodic. I really enjoyed it. Let's see, Flaming Lips. They did the If I Only Had a Brain from Wizard of Oz. Earth Angel, the famous song from Back to the Future, that's in there.
So it's
there's a lot
songs. It's not a score.
No, these are all like actual radio pop songs from the 1950s redone by newer bands.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. And it's cool that you won that from a radio station. Like that's amazing.
Oh, that's nothing. My relationship with radio stations is we could do an entire show on it.
But I mean, a video game like soundtrack, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't have many of those, do you?
No, actually I don't think I have any. I think that's my only gaming soundtrack that I have like on CD. Like they don't sell them anymore. They sell them in Japan, and you could get them, and you can get a whole bunch.
Japan has all the best stuff. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, they still have little muscle men on top of their coffee cups. Like my brother lives in Japan, and he brought back a bunch of these little muscle men. Do you remember muscle men?
Oh yeah,
millions
they're
of
little,
unusual
pink
creatures looking everywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they sell these with like a little like cap on top of the coffee that you buy, and it has little muscle men in there. So he knows I have like 400 of these things at home.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I collected them ever since I was a kid. So
yeah, if your brother lives in Japan, then I need to send you some money and a
I was
shopping
about
list.
to say, I can't believe you've been keeping this from us.
oh,
there is so much stuff I want to order from
were
Japan.
friends.
My other brother lives in Poland, so
That's cool.
Hey, yeah, wait a second. Now wait. Now I've
Uh-huh.
got cool stuff from Japan connection, and I've got foreign Pez connection.
Oh,
So
Pez, yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking, what is that studio? Project Red? What is the studio that is doing Cyberpunk and The Witcher? What's that? Project Red? I forget. Anyway, they're out of Poland. They're out of Krakow, I think. I'm not sure, or maybe Warsaw. But yeah, my brother says, "Oh yeah, they're really, really popular over here." I said, "Oh okay." Like I said, "Have you heard of the studio?" He's like, "Yeah, everybody knows them." I was like, okay. Yeah. So I'm the only boring one that lives in America. Oh, well.
Probably your parents are grateful they get to see grandchildren.
That's true. That is true. They get very spoiled because of it. So.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. What about you, Blue? What is your favorite music from a video game?
My favorite is probably the Final Fantasy games. Like all of them. Like I love to just look up the compilations. Like if a Philharmonic somewhere does the Final Fantasies, or the ones that put together the best from like all the different games. Those are my favorites. But if we're talking about the hipster soundtracks that we like.
Yes.
I have been listening to a lot of Axiom Verge, which I know everybody knows the game, but that soundtrack is killer.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I got Axiom Verge a long time ago to review, and I ended up buying the soundtrack and burning it. My son was playing it; he loved it, so he would go to sleep to that soundtrack every night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. Also, Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yep.
That's a good one. And it has my favorite version of Bloody Tears.
Oh.
On that one. It's the B-side hard rock version.
Oh.
That one is the magic, not the one in the game.
Oh, I'll have to listen to that. I'm a huge Castlevania fan. So.
I'll send you the link. I've shared it before on Twitter, but yeah, I'll send you the link. And then also the soundtrack to Bastion.
Oh, yeah, that's really, really good.
That is so good.
That is really, really good. Oh, yes. That soundtrack is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I wish... I mean, I know you can buy it. I wish I had it.
I don't know. I usually listen to it on the Amazon Music app, so I assume you could buy it there if you had the inclination. And then the last one I'm going to list is Cat Quest.
Oh,
that's a good one too?
Yeah, it's short, but it's really fun. It's like some grand animated movie from the 90s or whatever. They always have those really great background music. Yeah. That's what it has.
Yeah.
You know what was a great animated movie from the 90s that everybody else hates but I really liked? It was a movie called Titan AE.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I don't think I ever... Did I see... I did see it. It was so boring.
Exactly. My point exactly.
Oh, my gosh. It was so boring, like I didn't even remember for a moment having seen it.
It might have been because I was working at a movie theater at the time, and I probably saw it like 6 times while throughout my shift.
Stockholm syndrome.
Exactly.
Cool. Thanks, Blue. Okay. So like, I'm not as cool as you guys. Like,
all right.
We are the epitome of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like when I think of like my favorite music, like. It's so funny because Retro Gaming Brews, is that the so he tweeted out this past week, like if you like know the song, you're like a retro gamer, and it was the Punch-Out song, and I'm not kidding. That song runs through my head constantly every day, and I always think, what is this song from again? Da, 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 da,
Oh, so
da,
you'll
da,
sing
da,
that one.
Da 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 da.
GamerHeads, the musical.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly. Yes, yes,
Your passcode is
yes. Isn't that really catchy?
373. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. And like I'm not kidding. I'll walk to like meetings and I'll be like da 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 da, and I'm like, what is this song? Oh yeah, it's Punch Out.
So what we got to do is we got to hire a Doc Lewis to chase after you on a bike while you're going from meeting to meeting.
And I gotta get a pink jumpsuit. Yeah,
that's how you're gonna train for your 5K.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly. But like I guess like that's like my favorite song from a video game. I know it sounds weird, but like I really always loved that song. It's so catchy and just really good. I do like the Legend of Zelda soundtrack though. I got the Spirit Sword. Is that right? What is that game? Is the Spirit Sword? What is the one? Spirit in the Sky or something? What is
Spirit Skyward Sword or Spirit Tracks?
Oh, Skyward Sword.
Oh, okay.
The version I have came...
Spirit in the Sky Sword.
Yeah, Spirit in the Sky Sword. You know that game. My version has the soundtrack for Symphony soundtrack for it. So it was really cool. I really loved that music. So, yeah, I like Castlevania music a lot too. Oh man, so Blue. I mean, when we talked about did we talk about this? But I finished Castlevania the series.
Oh yeah,
season 2. And when they did that big fight scene in the second...
I'm going to take my headphones off real quick.
Oh, no.
Episode 7, right?
Yes, episode 7. Oh, my God.
Episode 7. Like, sometimes I just put that on, just episode 7 by itself, and just play it.
Mike is really taking off his headphones.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. But isn't that great, that whole fight scene, and then play the Castlevania theme? Oh, my gosh, it's so good.
That's Bloody Tears. That's my jam, right? That plays during that scene.
Yes, that's a good.
I'm sending you that link right now.
Yes. We're done talking about Mike. You can come back.
Spoilers.
Catch up, Mike.
Yeah, come on, man. Then we could talk about it. Everybody else seen it, and same with Bird Box or whatever.
I just watched that yesterday.
Oh, you did? I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so those are our favorite music from video games. Listeners, what are your favorite music from video games? You can let us know. You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can go to our website at GamerHeadsPodcast.com and send us a message there. You can go to Facebook. You can go to Facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. Or you can also send us an email, info@GamerHeadsPodcast.com. All right, let's move into the news then. And the first item that I have here is from Nintendo Life. This is like literally almost like right after our episode aired last week. Blue, you sent us this link to this article. And Soulja Boy's consoles will no longer be coming to the market. In fact, if you go to his website right now, or his console website, it actually redirects you to Nintendo's 3DS site. And in a tweet, Soulja Boy said, "I had to boss up. I didn't have a choice." Like, he's talking all big and strong and like, "Oh yeah, come at me, Nintendo." And then Nintendo
came at
him. Oh yeah, they came at him. He went, "Oh, oops,
oops." Did I say come at me? I didn't mean that. So yeah. So what happens to all the people that bought the consoles already? I guess that's my question. Like, do they get their money back? Like, I don't even know.
Probably get a 3DS.
They probably do, because they can't they can't go to the site and like file a complaint or something, because the site doesn't even exist anymore.
Who knows? I mean, like, if you sign up for a race and the race gets canceled, you don't usually get your money back, because they already spent it trying to put on the race.
That's
so
true.
I imagine this is similar.
Yeah, I tried to reach out to him to get him on our show to talk about his consoles, but it's not easy to get a hold of him. I don't know why, but
shocker.
I know. Yeah, so so that's, I mean, if you bought one of the consoles, I'm sorry, and I don't know if you're going to get your money back, but that was not a shocker to me. I'm shocked that it took this long, actually, but
yeah.
Also from Nintendo Life. This is cool. Nintendo is having their New Year's sale, which is going on, and I will just list a couple of the games that you can actually get. This is the I should say the North American sale. There's a European one too, but I didn't see that. So, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is 30% off on a Switch for $41.99. Splatoon 2 is $41.99, 30% off as well. Octopath Traveler, which we love, is $41.99. Starlink Battle for Atlas is $29.99, 50% off. Man, I wish I'd have waited. Wizard of Legend is 20% off, $12.79. Actually, I kind of wanted to check that game out. The Mega Man Legacy Collection is 25% off, and that's $11.24. Iconoclast, we mentioned that, 25% off is $14.99 right now. Let's see. Mario and Rabbids is $26.39. That's the Battle Gold Edition. And then I'm just gonna name a couple other games because I thought these were really cool games. This is actually for the 3DS. Two of my favorite games on the 3DS: Cold Cup Revolt. That is a Magic game that plays like a mix of Magic and Monopoly. That is 30% off. That's $20.99. And then there's the RPG Maker as well, and that's on the 3DS. That's $20.99 as well. So that's 30. So both of those are 30% off. So, yeah. So there's a good selection here. There's like, I don't know, quite a few games. Like I would say close to 50, maybe. I don't know. There's quite a few.
Did you mention Golf Story?
Oh, was that on the list? Oh yeah, there it is.
$9.89.
$9.89. 34%. Oh, and The Gardens Between. That was another one that I really loved, and that's $12.99, 35% off on the Switch. So yeah, some really good games out there. So check that out. If you're in the market for spending some of your cash that you may have gotten for Christmas, or some of those eShop cards that you got for Christmas.
If you got eShop cards for Christmas and haven't spent them already, then I admire your restraint and discipline, because mine are gone in like 5 seconds.
Mine are gone before I even scraped the thing off. I'm like, oh, okay, got this new game. Yeah, I know, me too. I have a problem with holding on to those things. I usually have this idea, like this grand idea of like I'm gonna hold on to a bunch of them and get something really big, and then I'm always like,
yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, exactly. So the other news item that I have here from GameSpot, I didn't even know this was an issue. Well, I guess maybe I did know about this, but Bethesda settles a lawsuit over Westworld game. It claimed that it was a ripoff of Fallout Shelter. So Bethesda claimed that the game was a blatant ripoff of Fallout Shelter, right down to the animations and gameplay. It seems that a settlement has been reached, but there are no details of the settlement that were released at the time that we were recording this episode.
I remember vaguely hearing something about this, but this hasn't like gained a lot of traction. Not like Flappy Bird, which was another.
Flappy Bird is the standard by which we judge everything.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Westworld was created by WB, I think, Warner Brothers. So it was kind of a bigger game, but it's interesting that they came after them. It calls into question like who owns. I mean, do you own like I guess they were saying it. Even the gameplay and the animation was very similar. But I've seen a lot of games that are like Fallout Shelter that are just those management type games. I don't know. It's weird to me that you can still buy it. I mean, or I guess it's actually a free to play game, the Westworld game. It's on Android and iOS. Where Fallout Shelter did come to the Switch.
I'm sure you could probably Google images from both, and you could see for yourself.
Yeah.
How close they really are.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Maybe that. I don't know if this is correct or not, but I think they actually found some code in there.
Oh, really?
That was copied. I don't know if that was it or something else, because there's so many, especially on the Android store. There's so many just blatant ripoffs.
Yeah, but you would think that WB would be more careful with something like that, but I don't know.
There's too much we don't know to pass judgment.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh no, I'm gonna start passing judgment.
Yeah, that's what we do. We have very little information and we still pass judgment.
I'll throw caution into the wind and just blame everyone.
And then the last item that I have here is from Eurogamer, and this made me sad that Lego Lord of the Rings is no longer available on Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation, suggesting that there was probably some licensing issues and that the license ran out at the end of the year. So as of the 1st, those games were no longer available.
A little heads up would have been nice.
I know.
I liked Lego Lord of the Rings. Well, I'm a big fan of the soundtrack to that movie too, and since they pretty much just copied and pasted the soundtrack into the game, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, yeah, you could still find it used, and that's actually what I did when, what is that game with the guy with the flashlight?
The guy with the flashlight?
Yeah,
Haunted House on the Atari?
No, it was
Alan Wake?
Alan Wake, thank you. When that license came up, I just went and bought it used right away because I was afraid I wouldn't find another copy of that. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, same with this. I mean, I know you can find it used other places, but it's just too bad that, it's weird. Yeah. It's a weird thing where, like, again, maybe this is a future topic, but where. Well, we did already talk about this, where the electronic, like, so imagine if you had a diskless system like Xbox, and you had this game, and then you decide not to keep it downloaded, and then you went to go download it again, it's gone. Like, it's not yours anymore. You spent the money on it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting times.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else for news?
No. Should we take a quick break here?
Sure, we can take a quick break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we'll get into our game review of Razed and then what we're playing. So stay tuned. And welcome back to GamerHeads. So this week, the first thing I'll do is, before we go into the game review and the games we're playing, let's actually go into some of our listener feedback that we got this week. And we got quite a bit. This week we asked what are 3 games that we're most looking forward to in 2019. And boy, we got a lot of feedback on this. So we'll go through some of the items that we have here. The first one is actually from one of the creators of the show, Matt Christian. He helped me create this show. And he wrote Tunic, Resident Evil 2, Death Stranding / The Last of Us. I don't really follow release schedules, so the last one is 2, depending on whenever they're actually the release is planned for. So, yeah. So, I am interested in Resident Evil 2, but because of the microtransactions, I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes.
It'll go down to $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting a pin in it and putting it off to the side.
Yeah, that's right.
Until we hear how it is.
Yeah. We'll let other people tell us how it is before we pick it up.
Like any true gamer does.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, do you want to take the next one?
Yep. So producer BTW says, Animal Crossing, Kingdom Hearts 3, and definitely interested in Anthem. We think alike. Happy New Year, Blue.
Yay!
Happy New Year!
Yeah, absolutely. Animal Crossing, without a doubt. I'll agree to that.
And and Anthem. I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know. I saw somebody post today that I follow. They're like, it said, "You come closer, come closer." I'm like, "Yeah, me, okay." And then it said, "Whisper, Anthem's gonna be bad." I think he was really talking to me, and I was like, "Oh, maybe it is gonna be bad. I don't know."
I'm still suffering from Destiny 2, so, and I know Anthem.
Yeah, its success may rise or fall on how it differentiates itself from Destiny.
Yeah. Blue, do you want to take the next one?
Sure. The next one comes to us from Twitter. My good friend Playjack Sayback. He says, Kingdom Hearts 3. Already pre-ordered it for my wife. Now we just have to find a decently priced external drive so we can fit it on our PS4.
Oh.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. I actually yeah, there was some sales on those external hard drives. I got did I get 2 terabytes or 1 terabyte? I don't remember. But man, that it is nice that they now support the external hard drives, because I don't think it originally did on the PS4 when it first came out. Or yeah, I don't think it did. I know Xbox did, but it is nice having that. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we had the PlayStation got full. We got an external hard drive, put our saves on it for big games like Final Fantasy 15 and Ni no Kuni is on there and stuff like that. Then we unplugged it and plugged it back in, and suddenly it's not formatted correctly.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
It's the actual literal worst.
Yeah. And then yeah, that happened to me with
And so I don't trust them now. The external hard drives, they kind of freak me out.
Yeah. I had a similar situation with a game that I was playing. I was like 50% through, and then it wiped out my save, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do that all over again.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. I'll take the next one here. This is from Phil Shepard, and they write, if I had to narrow it down to that much, 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, Doom Eternal, or Dreams and Doom Eternal. Yeah, I forgot about Dreams. Dreams looks really cool.
Which one is Dreams again?
So that was the one that is the makers behind
Media Molecule.
Yeah, they made that Satchel Boy game. What was that game called again?
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet. So in Dreams, you can make your own games, and like, it looks cool. It looks really cool, and it uses. You don't have to, but it does use the PlayStation Move, and I think it also uses the VR. I could be wrong on that, but I do know it uses the PlayStation Move, and you can move. You can create things and create worlds. It looks so cool. Like I like those types of games, and I always dream that I'm gonna make something cool, and then I never do. But
this will be your year.
Yeah. Between that and RPG Maker, absolutely. So cool. Yeah, I forgot about Dreams. That should be on my list too. Mm-hmm. And Blue, do you want to read the last one?
Sure. The last one is from the Burkhead. He is looking forward to, and I quote, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. So a lot of people are looking forward to the remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. The Burkhead can tell us if we need to play it or not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I have a caution. I just approach it with caution because of the microtransactions. It's weird. It's a weird concept to put microtransactions into a game that already exists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. So,
well, at least they're not putting commercials in it like in Street Fighter.
Oh my gosh.
Or advertisements on their clothes.
That's
the last thing
true.
I want to do is, get killed by a zombie that has a Pennzoil shirt or something.
Yeah. Or you have to do a whole side quest centered on cup of noodles. Like in Final Fantasy 15. That was stupid.
Oh. No, actually, that would be kind of cool to be killed by a zombie wearing like a Pennzoil shirt. What are you talking about? That would be awesome. Oh, yeah. So we'll
That's
see.
your graveyard water talking.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, no. Yeah. Thanks for everybody for the feedback. We got quite a bit of feedback this week. So we always do every week, but I really appreciate that. It really makes our show. So keep it coming, people. We love hearing what you have to say.
Thank you.
And and then I'm just gonna say this here too. If you are so inclined, you can go out to our iTunes account as well, our iTunes page, I should say, and leave us a comment there. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. So, yeah. All right. So with that, let's move into the game that we're reviewing this week. And the game that we're reviewing is called Razed. And this game, I've been playing it on the PS4, and it's from Warped Fish. It's a 2-person studio, and it is I mentioned it, did I mention, not last week, but the week before that I've been playing it.
You mentioned it last week, but you didn't really tell us anything about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a constant runner.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. This is where the guy makes you Hunger Games your own death. That's right.
Yes. So the way I interpret it, and maybe I'm incorrect, but the way I have interpreted this game is that you are a computer program created by this other computer program, and they want to delete you, but they feel bad about deleting you, so they make you wear these shoes. And if you stop running at any moment, well, not any moment, but if you stop your momentum, you will be razed or you'll be killed. Razed. And so you have to constantly be running, and you go through these different levels, and each level doesn't take that long, probably, I don't know, only a couple minutes to pass each level if you're good at it. But if you're
asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. Once you actually understand like how the level works, it's kind of a puzzle in a way, because you have to figure out like, okay, at this point I can't jump, I have to just bounce off of this one piece and land on this other one and keep going. It can be really tricky, but it's a lot. When you actually pass a level, it's so much fun, because you're like, oh my gosh. I know you have this sense of like accomplishment when you actually pass a level, and then you go on to the next one, and you're like, oh crap, I have to do this again. But it's great to play in short spurts, because it, like I said, it's super fast. And each level, they have a leaderboard for each level, and I'm on the leaderboard for some of the levels. It's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you can go out there and see Rogue Leaders 76. I think the highest place I have is 30th place, which is one of the greatest, but I'm up there, so that was cool. So each race has a leaderboard, and you can check out your score and check it compared to the other leaders. And then they also have a ghost, so you can run against, I know you can run against yourself. You may be able to run against the top player as well. I think you can switch that. So
that would be a useful training tool.
Yeah. Actually, I should look into that. I think you might be able to do that when you beat it. I don't think you can do that before you beat it, though.
Gotcha.
But
come on, Roger, you can crack the top 20.
Yeah.
If that's your goal, then you can just run it again and again against the leader ghost.
Yeah. So the music. I'll start with the visuals first. So it is very colorful. It's very neon. Like it reminds me. It reminds me of, like, do you remember the game Race the Sun? Do you know that kind of stylized kind of look to it? It kind of reminds me of that, except a lot more colorful, because the Race the Sun wasn't all that colorful, if I remember correctly. But it's really colorful game. It's very like stylized computer-esque. I mean, it looks very like you're a computer program, and then at the end of each, so I think there's like 10 levels in each world. Like that's, kind of going back to the Mario, where you have the different 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. So at the end of each world, you have a boss that you fight against, and then you have to beat them. So that's really cool. The music is outstanding in this game. That's one thing I really loved about this game, and I want to get my hands on the soundtrack for this music as well. It's very techno, and it's a catchy music too, and I don't know, it just works really well with the game. It just feels like it should be there. The other thing that I love about this game too is that when you actually die and you hit things, like there'll be jumps where you have to jump, and there'll be like these spinning blade things you have to land in the middle. They're kind of like trampolines, but if you miss the trampolines, you get hit by the blades, you get hit, and I think what if I remember correctly, the industry, I think they call it the juice or something. They give it a little juice. It makes basically, it feels like when you get hit, you feel it. Like you feel it as a player. And it's a really weird thing, like, because the music hits at the right time, or the sound effects hit at the right time, and that your controller vibrates too. It just feels like you can actually feel it happening, kind of. It's a cool sensation. Frustrating because
dying
yeah.
Dying
Exactly.
is a cool sensation.
Getting hit in the kneecaps by a giant fan.
Jumping in a blender trampoline.
Yeah.
That is, I will say, like, the dying part is annoying, but just the fact that it feels like solid. I guess that's the feeling I have. It just feels good. Like it feels like oh, like, I don't know. It's just, it has like a good weight to it.
It's very immersive.
Yeah. And so you got to keep on running. And the problem is that when you jump, you're not running, so your meter starts to deplenish. So you have to get these little crystals you'll find them across the race, and they replenish your overall bar, so that way if you are jumping into place to place to place, because there'll be times where you have to do several jumps, you have to hit these crystals so that way you can continue with your meter, otherwise you will be razed and die. So it's interesting because it was 2 weeks in a row where I played Constant Runners. The first one was Nippon Marathon, and that was a racing game, and then I played Razed, and two different experiences. Both based on racing, but what totally different experiences. I really liked Razed a lot. I will put my review up. I think I will get it out this weekend yet. By the time you listen to it, it should be up there. But it's really good. I think my only complaint that I had about this game was there was times where I was running and I got like kind of caught in a corner and I couldn't run out of that corner and I got stuck. And that happened a couple times to me, and I felt that those were kind of like unfair deaths. But other than that, most of my deaths were fair.
They were clean deaths.
Yeah, they were clean deaths. It's a very challenging game. I was streaming it today, and I goes, this is one of the things that I love about this game is that you'll be stuck on a race and you'll walk away from it. This is actually how I find a lot of games happens to me, and I walk away from it, and then I sit down. I'm like, okay, I can do this, and for whatever reason, I'm able to do it the next time. I'm like, what happened last time? I was just so stuck. But
why is it so easy now? Yeah,
exactly. But the race that I did, oh man, I was getting killed over and over and over again, and I finally did it, and I was so happy. Like, so that's on our stream. You can go to twitch.tv/GamerHeads podcast, and you can see like I get pretty ecstatic when I actually beat that race, and then in the next one, I'm like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do here? It does give you the ability to skip up to 3 races. I tried not to use that. I did use it once because
you need to save that for the end, probably.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really good. I mean, I highly recommend this game. If you like games that are like I don't know, it's kind of Sonic-esque in a way. So, in a way, it kind of reminds me of Sonic, but I don't know, the music, the soundtrack is really good, and the visuals are really good. I'm impressed that, 2 people made this game. It's like one of those things that you're just like, this is really cool. This is one of these games that just kind of flew under the radar because it came out right around when Smash did, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So, it just, it didn't get the love and attention that I think it deserved, because it's a really good game.
Mm-hmm. And I always love to see what the little tiny studios can come up with.
Yeah.
Because sometimes having just a handful of people is a downside, just in the volume of work you're able to accomplish. But also sometimes it makes, I think, for a much better final product, because you can have a more singular, unified vision as opposed to having 50 people kind of with their own idea of what it is they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and just even including the leaderboards in the races for each race is so cool. Like, I thought that was such a neat touch. Like, I'm glad they did. They didn't have to do that. And then you can also see how you compare to the world to your friends. I mean, you can have, leaderboards for your friends versus the world. That's really cool. I think leaderboards are so underutilized because I love leaderboards. So,
maybe most people's egos can't take it.
Yeah, look, he hits the top 30, and all of a sudden
he's walking different.
Yeah,
like a boss.
I don't need to associate with those over 50 people. I scoff at thee.
It's funny. A side note: I was playing a game. Oh man, I wish it was a dungeon crawler game, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me now. But I was playing it, and I have a leaderboard in it, and Quest for Dungeon, that's what it is, I think. Yeah, Quest for Dungeon. And they had a leaderboard, and I saw the creator of the game on the leaderboard, and he was below me, and I was like, oh man.
Snap.
I know, I took a quick shot, and I sent it to him. I was like, look, I'm ahead of you. And he's like, yeah, that won't last long. I'm like, I know.
Oh. Now you're not getting a code for the game.
Yeah.
No, he's really cool. We follow each other on Twitter, but I just thought that was really cool that I was like, oh my gosh, I actually beat somebody. But no, yeah, it's a good game. Definitely look into Razed. It's like I said, it's on the Switch too, so I think this would be a really fun game to take portably. Okay, well then let's move into games that we're currently playing. And since I talked about Razed, Blue, do you want to go first?
Sure. I played 3 games this week. One I am not allowed to talk about.
Oh, man, look at you.
I know. Really big stuff here, you guys.
Got that
really
top 30
stuff.
mentality with Blue, too.
That's right. That's right.
Except for, I can't talk about it. It's, it's way too cool to talk about with you guys. So, I finished Cat Quest, and of course my review is up on our website, GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
Yes.
I really had a lot of fun with that game. It's really cute. It's a good casual time, bright colors, cheesy humor. The game knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't try to be anything else. And so, I mean, if you're just kind of looking for just a distraction, a time waster, not something that's going to frustrate you to no end with 1,000 deaths, Cat Quest is for you, for real.
Nice. Yeah, I have to check that out. And you said there's a second one coming out, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a second one coming out. I thought it was spring 2019, and then somebody told me it was summer. Either way, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
And
cool.
It's by P-Cube, who just gave you this code for Razed.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe we can stay good friends with them.
Yes, yeah, I'll have to reach out to them.
You better stay below that guy on the leaderboard.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
Roger, no pressure.
Take a dive, man.
Take one for the team.
Yeah.
That's right. Cool. Anything else?
The other game I played, Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Oh yeah, I've seen things about this game. It reminds me of like a 1930s cartoon.
Yeah. So it's a first-person survival horror.
Oh.
And
that is not what I thought it was going to be.
You wouldn't think so, no. So it is stylized as cartoons from the 1930s. Like if you think about Steamboat Willie, that kind of stuff. Mickey Mouse and all that. That's kind of the style, the animation style of the characters in the game. So in the game you play as Henry. He is a retired animator from that studio. And he gets this mysterious note from his business partner, says, "Hey, come back and visit the studio. I want to show you something." So he shows up, and what he discovers is this hellish landscape nightmare world of living ink creatures that want to kill him.
Oh.
And of course, once you're in the studio, it doesn't want to let you out.
Oh.
So you have to fight through the creatures and uncover the mystery of the studio and escape somehow. So I played this game start to finish. It took me 5 hours. I did it all in one sitting.
Wow.
I know, I was exhausted afterwards. I do not recommend playing it that way. But it's a unique game in the sense that it was released in chapters. So there's 5 chapters that make up the whole game, and they were released over a period of like a year and a half, starting in February 2017, and then the last one just came out in October. And then they put them all together in a complete edition and ported them to all the consoles.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of a grassroots campaign, and the game has this crazy cult following of all these people who have followed it the whole time and are mad for it. So it's really unique and interesting in that perspective as far as its in design aesthetic. It's got this great it's designed after black and white cartoons, but the aesthetic in the game is actually yellow and black, as if they've aged and they're fading, kind of a thing. It's just the world building in it is great. The music is great. It's just really kind of too bad that the gameplay is just kind of meh.
Yeah. It's interesting because they really started marketing that too. Like I saw a lot of toys for for those characters from that. And
yeah, I think I remember reading rumors they were going to do a crossover with Cuphead.
oh,
And
well,
then,
that makes sense. It's kind of the same style.
yeah, and I think they did a crossover with that game Hello Neighbor.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, I think,
yeah.
and then instead of running from the neighbor in the game, you ran from Bendy.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
okay.
Sounds so excited, Roger. Is the game like legitimately scary? Is it like an Outlast type where it's just like,
Well, it's
don't play this in the dark?
I guess that depends on your personality. It's just there's some disturbing stuff in there for sure, but because it's happening to cartoon characters, it's maybe not quite as impactful as it would be if they were, looked more like real people.
Gotcha.
But the scariest part about the game is that the character Henry that you're playing, he moves like a 70-year-old man. He is so slow. Like, he can do 3 things in the game. He can walk, he can run, and he can swing whatever weapon you happen to have at the time. And it's basically the whole time like he's crawling. Like, he's so slow. And so the game is terrifying because you feel so ridiculously vulnerable.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some weird trippy dream where you're trying to run but you just can't.
Yeah, exactly. And like lots of the boss fights, they're kind of ones where you're like, oh, you need to get him to smash against the wall and stun him so that you can hit him. But of course, that means you have to stand in front of the wall and then dash at the last second.
Oh.
And it's so difficult.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's so interesting too, because like you think about most games that you play, you're playing like I think of like the Nathan Drakes and the characters where they're kind of fit, or they're not old and hard to control, I guess.
Oh yeah, this one is brutal. Like, and it has kind of this subtle effect, at least on me, because I'm not afraid of what the ink demons are gonna do. I'm afraid of what I can't do as Henry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as afraid of the monsters as I think I probably would be if the game felt more natural. If you felt like you could move like an actual human. It's just a really subtle difference, but I definitely noticed it.
Yeah. That sounds cool. And you played that on the Switch, or what did you play that on?
I played that on the Switch.
Yeah.
I got a code, and my review, probably by the time this podcast goes out, it will probably be up on thewellreadmage.com.
Nice. Anything else?
No.
Cat Mike,
Quest and that one, and then the other mystery game.
The mystery game, yeah. It's not Disgaea, is it?
Disgaea will be with me always.
Yeah. Michael, have you been playing?
I could tell you what I wanted to play.
Yeah, what was that?
I wanted to play Rise of the Tomb Raider. So on New Year's Eve.
Oh yes,
story time.
For the past since 2004, so for the past 15 years, I've been able to stay at home, chill, and just binge play a game. Last year, I binge played Tomb Raider on the PS4, the reboot, and I blasted through that game overnight and into New Year's Day. So this year, my plan was Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm like, 'cause I enjoyed that one so much. Awesome. Then I hear from the wife, and she's like, because she got a teaching job this year, and she says, she's like, hey, some of the teacher friends, some of my coworkers want to, take their kids and go bowling.
Oh no!
And that's when you say, sounds like fun. Have a blast. Yeah, exactly.
And I hate socializing, and I hate bowling.
Oh my gosh, yes. And other people's kids.
And yeah. So I'm like, okay, it's from 8 to 10. I'll still be able to get my Tomb Raider time in, not a problem.
Oh no.
So I'm like, all right, that's fine. We'll do that. That'll be okay. And then like at like 4:00 on New Year's Eve, one of the teachers is wants to have everybody over at their house afterwards.
Oh no.
So I get home at 2 in the morning,
Oh
and
man.
Oh my
I am
gosh.
just spent. I'm old. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the morning does not compute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Not like
no.
it used to, anyways.
So I spent New Year's Eve playing Bendy, but I think you experienced the real nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I was texting you guys during it. And I'm like,
You
I know
were.
he's like, save me.
uh, so, and I ended up waking up the next morning at like noon, and then I played Let's Go Pikachu all day
Oh,
on
yeah.
the day
I
off.
saw
Yeah.
you. I know. I was playing it before. I was playing it like literally right before you did. I was streaming it, and then you jumped on, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, and that game, I know that it gets a lot of hate, oh, it's not a traditional Pokemon game, but I really enjoy the fact that you could just play it with one hand.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you could just, I'm sitting in my chair, I got my other hand behind my head, just leaning back. It's just a very relaxing game, but it is harder to catch the Pokemon in this one than it is in Pokemon Go in the mobile game.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, but it's still just an enjoyable, chill game, and I think it'll be really good. And I have a feeling that that's what Nintendo will probably end up doing, is probably going, um, you know, um, let's go and then a core and then a let's go and then a core, just to kind of break up the monotony a little bit.
Yeah.
But as somebody I didn't get into Pokemon until Omega Ruby, no, Alpha Sapphire, the 3DS remake of Sapphire. So I never played a Pokemon game until then. I really got drawn to it. I really do enjoy it. And Let's Go Pikachu. I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So I played that for about 6 hours straight. And I also played some more Red Dead Online. Nothing new to say about that. Jerks that kill you, and yeah. Other than that, yeah, that's nothing more to say about that. And then I'm playing a game right now that I'm going to be reviewing, so keep an eye out for that. Um, I'm gonna take the top 30 approach on this too, and just say you can't know what it is. But I can say it is enjoyable.
Nice. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
So for myself, I've been playing some Smash, so Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and I'm really enjoying the Spirit board in the adventure mode. That is really good. Like this last week actually, Christian and myself and some of my coworkers finally came back. And we haven't been playing the game against each other. We've all just been hunting our own spirits and we're like, "Oh, do you have this one? Do you have this one?" I feel like kids like with baseball cards, kind of, like opening up the cards and stuff. But that's really fun. I think Christian beat he did. He beat the adventure mode now. Of course he did, because that's Christian. So I've been playing that, and then I played Razed and really enjoy my time with that. And then there is another game that I have been playing, and I can't talk about it myself. So
We are all so extremely mysterious.
yeah, it's another game that I'm reviewing, so I can't talk about it. I'm really I'm excited to talk about it because it'll be cool, but I can't talk about it right now. What I can tell you though is that we are going to be talking about the game next week, and we also will have the developer from the game on the show. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. So that'll be cool. So I'm excited. That's one thing, and we'll go into our hot topic next. But I'm excited what 2019 brings for us, because one of my goals is to have more interviews and have more reviews. So, so we'll see. But that's really all I've been playing this week. So let's go into the hot topic. Since we already took a break, let's just move right into our hot topic. And our hot topic this week is, what are the 3 video game New Year's resolutions that we have for 2019? So we will do this in a round robin fashion. We'll go with number 3, and then number 2, and number 1. And I'll start us off. So my number 1 resolution for 2019 in regards to video games is that I want to write more reviews this year than I did last year. I actually wrote quite a few reviews, but I want to write more because I want to get to the level that Blue is of writing.
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I read your reviews and I'm like, man, I got to get to that level. So
Roger, I've been practicing for probably like 12 years.
I know. So I got a lot. I got a way to catch up. So, but that is my goal, is to write more reviews so that way I become a better writer myself.
Yeah, it's no great talent on my part. Trust me, it's
Oh,
just
please.
practice.
Oh well.
But you are way too kind.
You're like the true journalist on this panel. So
I love you too, man.
Mike, you're more of a journalist than me too. Come on. Mike, what is your number 3 item?
I want to try a new genre. There's certain games that I just don't get into, like, and it pains me to say this, but the Dark Souls of,
That is a genre.
Yeah, that is the Dark Souls of is a genre. So like, like a game like that, or like I don't really get into roguelikes, or even I've kind of like gone away from sports games too, because I think they've just gotten too convoluted and just too complex. So I want to get into some type of game that I haven't played before. So I have to do some research and see what I can find in terms of that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thanks.
I can't get into those Dark Souls games. I just can't. They're just, I don't know. I hate to say this, but it's too Dark Soulsy for me.
Yeah, Dark Souls is too dark. The Dark Souls of.
T-shirt.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah,
it's too Dark Soulsy for me.
Yeah, exactly.
T-shirt.
Oh man, that's gonna be another goal. We have to have T-shirts this year. So
Dark Souls 2 is 2 Dark Souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Blue, what is your number 3 item?
So this requires a bit of backstory. I was asking my husband, I was like, what on earth should I put for my resolutions? And he suggested Final Fantasy X, the remaster. That is kind of our game. We played through it together when we were dating, when it first came out.
Wow.
So it holds a special place for us, but we have the remasters on the PlayStation 4, and he's like, why don't you 100% it, with all the extra monsters and everything?
Huh.
And so I was thinking, well, it's not the extra monsters that worry me. It's Blitzball.
It's what?
Blitzball.
Blitzball?
Mm-hmm.
What's Blitzball?
Have you not played Final Fantasy X?
No.
Mike, have you played it?
I know what Blitzball is.
Okay.
Blitzball?
So
It's a
Blitzball,
sport?
it's the
okay.
sport they play in Final Fantasy X, and if you want to get their legendary weapons, one character in particular, Waka, you have to play and win like in the Blitzball League, and it's the worst game ever. Like Game Within a Game, it's the worst game ever. It's like impossible. The math doesn't make sense. I don't know what kind of math that they're working with, but it doesn't make sense. And so, like, I've beaten the game before, but just never with his legendary weapon, and so.
And that's part
Maz
of the
was like, "Why don't you 100%
huh?
it?" And I was like, "I don't want to play Blitzball." But
and did you say, "Why don't you 100% it?"
yeah, you're right. I said, "Let's 100% it together, and you can play the Blitzball."
Okay, and did he agree to that?
I think he did, but he was in the middle of a Destiny match, so he probably didn't know exactly what he was agreeing to.
Cool. So you didn't. Does he like Blitzball? Does he like that game or not?
Well,
really?
he likes the game, but we both hate Blitzball. It's impossible.
So we both hate that. Okay. So you didn't get that last time then, right?
No, we've never 100%ed the game.
Okay. Wow. That's a big challenge.
It will be. Probably setting ourselves up for failure.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do with these resolutions, right? Is that
Probably.
So my next New Year's resolution is that I want to beat Octopath Traveler in 2019. So I got through chapter 1 and I really enjoyed it, and then I just got onto other games and I never beat it. So I need to beat Octopath Traveler.
I'll work with you on that, buddy.
Okay. All right. How far are you?
We'll do it together.
Yeah, we'll be the. Well,
That's
yeah.
right.
Teamwork.
It'll be like workout buddies, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which chapter I'm on, but I think I've got 5 people on my team.
Okay, so you don't have everybody yet then.
No.
Okay, so you're still on chapter 1 then.
Okay. I got some work to do. All right, I can do this.
Yeah, it's so you have to get all the characters, and that ends the first chapter, and then to get into chapter, every character is chapter 2. You have to be at a certain level. Well, you don't have to be, but they suggest a certain level. Yeah. So like a lot of my characters, I have to be level 27, I think. And right now I'm at like 23. So I just have to grind from 23 to 27 before I can actually go into their actual chapters and start doing their next story.
Gotcha.
So it's that, I think that's the complaint that people have, and the problem is that you can only have four people on your party at a time. And then so that means you have to rotate them out, right? Mm-hmm. So you might get one character up to like level 27, but some of your characters you don't play with all that often might be level 19, and then you have to work them into the mix and get them leveled up high enough so they can go into their next chapter. So that's the biggest complaint that people said, that it's too grindy because of the fact that you can't move on to that character. Well, you can, you're just going to die, but if you want to play in that next chapter, that character, you have to grind to get them to that next level. And you might not play, like, I know that the Apothecary character is your main. I don't play him. So I have to just use him and grind him up so that way I can, that sounds bad, doesn't it? I have to grind him up. I have to
You've been playing Razed too long.
Yeah. Exactly.
With that blender trampoline.
Yeah, get your trampoline blender out.
So it is a challenge, and I listened to this podcast and somebody mentioned, they're like, I don't know how many people actually beat Octopath Traveler, and everybody on the panel said, I didn't beat it. Like, I started it, got probably as far as a little bit farther than me, and they never beat it. And it's one of those games that I think it's 80 plus hours to do, but
well, also I think if you do what we do, then you're kind of always under pressure to have, you're getting codes and you have obligations to developers. And so it is hard to sit down and finish such a long game.
Yeah. So, but that is my goal. By the end of the year, I will have Octopath Traveler beat. So I think I can do it. I just have to find time.
We'll just message each other every day and be like, "Did you do your Octopath today?"
Yeah,
30
exactly.
minutes. 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yeah.
30 minutes.
Just do it while you're play the game while you're jogging. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I will never run with my Switch because that'd be really bad if I.
That would be a really bad idea.
2 hours later, you just look up and you're on the highway somewhere in the middle of nowhere. How the hell did I get here?
Maybe if you had a treadmill.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, who's next? Mike?
Yep.
Mike? Okay.
So, one of my resolutions this year is I want to complete my Mega Man collection.
Oh, yeah, Mega Man.
Yeah, I have 2, 3, and 6.
Oh, do you not have the Mega Man Legacy collection?
Oh, no.
That's cheating.
Oh, okay.
No, that's cheating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got the originals 2, 3, and 6. But yes, I have Mega Man collection on the PS4, and I have it on the Switch, and I have the Mega Man collection for the GameCube. So yeah, I in terms of digitally, yeah, I got those.
Okay.
But I need my original carts.
Oh.
When I went to the local gas station back in the 80s.
Oh, you're saying you want to. I'm sorry, you want to collect them all. I'm sorry.
Yes.
When you finish, I thought you meant like finish the games.
No. Yeah, I want to get all 6 NES Mega Man games.
I see. Okay.
My goal right now is I really want to find Mega Man 1.
Mm.
Because that's one of the ones I alluded to earlier. Is there was a gas station that rented games when I was a kid, and that was the only place that had the original Mega Man,
Yeah. And the
Hmm.
and that's
original,
I would
that's
rent that all the time.
and it's such a weird box art for that game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
the first one is like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so yeah, that's and I know that I think it's Mega Man 5 is the most expensive one.
That's what I
Oh.
was just gonna ask. Are they rare? I have no idea.
They're available. I could get them, but they can get pretty expensive. I think Mega Man 5 goes up for like $80.
Ooh.
Mega Man 1 is like 50.
Okay.
So that's kind of like when I asked you both earlier, is a repro cartridge considered
Oh,
cheating, or is
yeah.
that like an
Yeah.
actual game?
Oh, I
Because they can
would
get a
think
repro for like $20.
the collectors would probably turn up their nose at it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're collecting it just for your own collection, I don't know.
I guess
I think
yeah,
that's
it really
okay.
depends on what you're satisfied with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, so that's what I want to do is I want to get a nice long shadow box and put them all in there.
Nice. So
Look all
which ones do
pretty.
you have so far?
I have 2, 3, and 6.
Okay. Okay. I'll keep my eye out because I go to, Gaming Generations and they sometimes have them just, you know, I'm not always, but whatever they have people bring in, I'll keep my eye out for
Mhm.
one of those games. So
Well, I'm gonna lose a lot of money now that I found that your brother lives in Japan. So
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're doomed.
I've already got PayPal pulled up.
yeah, yeah. Cool. What about you, Blue?
My second one is likely going to piss off some listeners, but I was going to say fanboys. I'll say listeners. I don't use our Xbox One at all.
You have an Xbox One?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we don't use it at all. And I need to use it.
Yeah.
One, because we paid for it. And two, because there's good games on there I would need to play.
Yeah.
Like, I've never finished Cuphead. I need to do
Oh,
that.
now that angers me as a Cuphead fanboy.
If it would come to Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't finish Bastion. I am behind on the Tomb Raiders, so there's a lot to be done there, and I just need to give my Xbox more attention.
Yeah. I have an Xbox One as well, and I'm in the same boat. I actually have Game Pass as well, and I don't ever use it.
Really?
It's really bad because
That
like,
is really bad because you're paying for it.
I know I'm paying $10, and my logic behind it was I'm going to pay $10 a month for this program, and then I won't have to buy new games. I'll have these games
Yeah,
here.
right.
And I mean, I find myself playing the Switch. Switch is probably my number one go-to system, and then the PS4, and then the Xbox gets the least amount of love. Although there is one game that's on the Game Pass. It's called what is it called? Graveyard
Graveyard Keeper?
Graveyard Keeper. Yeah, yeah. That game actually looks really fun. That's like the
I think it's on the Switch though, isn't it?
I don't know. If it is, then I need to get it because
No,
Is that the-
resolution, you need to play it on your Xbox.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
Right? Yeah.
That's like the Stardew Valley of graveyard
Yes.
keepers.
Yes, yes,
Mhm,
yes.
yeah.
And you drink water. It's really weird.
Oh.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
And another piece of the puzzle falls into place.
Yeah, so if like in 10 years Roger comes out with his own like bottled water brand, nobody buy it.
guaranteed not to have dead bodies.
Guarantee, not guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah, guaranteed.
Guarantee with finger quotes like drawn
Yeah.
on the bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have? So, what games do you have for your Xbox?
Well, we just got I don't know if you saw on Twitter, we just got Assassin's
yeah.
Creed Origins
Yep.
because I'm a moron. I got it for my brother-in-law for Christmas and he already has it and I knew that. I meant to buy him Odyssey, but I bought Origins. So it's mine now. So I have that big long game to play on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I've got like a downhill bike racing game. I forget what it's called. We got Ori in the Blind Forest. We got Cuphead. We got Tomb Raider. We got Bastion. Sea of Thieves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't play it, so we don't buy for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
Sea
kind of
Thieves is
those
yeah.
exclusives are what we ponied up for and then forgot about.
Yeah. That's the reason that's the reason I got the Game Pass, because you get the exclusives day one, and I'm glad I did that, because I really did want to play Sea of Thieves, and I did, and I stopped playing it like after day one, because it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't I think if you had a group of people to play, it would be fun, like a good group of people, but like the time I was playing was like with people that this one guy was yelling, "Where the F is your boat? Get on the effing boat!" And I'm like, okay, this is not fun. Like, I don't know what's going on, and like he was screaming at me. It wasn't fun. It wasn't not. I mean, it felt like I was on a real pirate ship. Probably, actually, it's probably what it was like. But yeah.
So for those of you Microsoft fans that are listening, let it be known that I love the Xbox.
Mike is going to restore honor to the show.
That's right.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to Battletoads.
Is that coming on the Xbox?
Is that exclusive?
I'm sure it's going to be PC as well, but yeah, it's a Rare Games, and Microsoft owns Rare,
yeah.
so.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things that I think that would be cool with the Xbox, because if you buy games on the Microsoft Store, or if you have somebody that knows people that played the game or has the game on Microsoft Store, like look, there's cross-play compatibility between a lot of games between Xbox and the Microsoft Store. Not Steam, obviously, but so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I and when I turn on my Xbox though, I'm like, oh, this looks. I do think that resolution-wise, I think it looks a lot better than a PS4 does. Actually, I think it pops a lot. My screen pops a lot better, but I don't know. I just I'm in the same boat. I just don't ever play it.
But also this year we're getting Cuphead DLC and Ori and Will o' the Wisps.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
We need to start playing it.
Yeah. All right. Then my number one. My last one is that I actually want to stream more games. So I want to get on a consistent schedule where I am streaming games and doing more like Let's Plays and the Saturday morning serial series. This Saturday, well, by the time you hear it, it's already passed. But I'll be out of town. But I do want to do more of that because it's just fun. I like interacting with people and watching the stream, and I don't know, I find that a lot of fun. It feels like there's a community, and I like that. So that's what I want to do. I want to stream more games.
Well,
That's
remember us when you become a famous streamer.
Yeah.
Did you guys see how much Ninja made this past year?
I don't want to think about it.
It was like in the millions. It was crazy.
It was like 10 million or something.
Yeah. That was insane. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. But
I'd be happy to make enough to like buy a coffee.
I know, me too. I know. If I make like $1.25, man, I'm all set.
I'm happy to get somebody following me.
Yeah, me too. Well, you have a lot more followers than I have, so but yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but he streams like 12 hours a day, which is an insane
holy
amount of time.
That is beyond a full-time job.
Yeah. Like I read an article about that he streams 12 hours a day, and then his wife is his manager, and they like discuss like what they're going to be working on during the day and stuff like that. And then a lot of his money is made from endorsements too. But
so don't be afraid to sell out.
Yeah.
You wearing a Pennzoil shirt?
Yeah, exactly. But he did say like, he views it as a coffee shop, which was interesting that, the moment that he closes his doors, people buy coffee from other places. So he's always constantly thinking like, oh man, how much money am I losing by not streaming at this point? I'm not in it for money at all. Like I'm whatever. I don't care. But I do want, I just want people to enjoy and just see, I don't know. I enjoy games, and I enjoy sharing my joy of games, and I want people to experience that. And I just like talking to people and getting their thoughts on the game and stuff like that. So
I agree. The community aspect to me is great.
Yeah. So, I mean, Mike, I enjoy dropping in on your Saturday Night Perlers. Like, I think that's so cool, and
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So like I want to become like you, Mike. Like Mike. I want to be like Mike.
Yeah, but you
So-
guys need to post your schedules in someplace that's easy to find because I never know when you guys are streaming
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
it's like 3 hours later, and it's like, oh well, oops.
Yeah, I need to. Well, Mike has a consistent schedule. I need to become more consistent.
And I need to be more vocal on Twitter.
Yeah, like make it your pin tweet or whatever it is, your schedules, because I have no idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's my goal, is to become more consistent. And actually, I do have ideas for like shows that I want to put on our Twitch channel too. And Mike and I actually talked about combining our with our powers combined, we become Captain Planet. We talked about
Join me on the dark side.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we talked about like actually combining our channels and then having one channel and having, the podcast running, like actually having, schedule of like, we'll have podcasts during this time, not live. It would all be pre-recorded, but people can watch, people can just turn into the channel and catch live shows or pre-recorded shows, and it'll be cool. So that's our plan.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, Mike, what's yours?
So my last one is I want to kind of get like a gaming community going in my area.
Oh, cool.
So I live. So when people say where you from, I say Chicago. I grew up in Chicago and everything, but I don't live in Chicago. I got smart and moved out the first chance I got. So I'm about 20 minutes southwest of Chicago.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot, like if you go in the city, yeah, there's a lot of like gaming communities and stuff. But I want to have like an actual community of people that play games. Just like to get to know some people a little more. We have our local library, and they do different different programs and things like that. So I'm thinking I want to contact them. I was thinking of starting like a group, like once a month, where parents and their kids come, and we've got the room and we have a bunch of TVs set up with newer games for the kids, but like NES games for the adults. Just some kind of community thing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That's a big goal for somebody who 20 minutes ago said he hated socializing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, I don't like socializing with people that I don't really know and don't have my same interest. Because I told the wife that I'm like, so I'm gonna talk to these husbands and they're gonna be talking about fixing cars and stuff like that, and I'll be like, Mario.
Yeah, Mike, I am totally in the same boat. Like, I that's why I don't like. I tell my wife, like, you can go to the birthday parties because I go there and like. My daughter goes to birthday party. I go there too, and like the guy, like guys come up to you and they talk about like I don't know, guy things, and I don't know anything about guy things, and I'm like, oh, Mario.
Yeah.
So football, you got football. You can always talk football.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But
so that's when one of the
minutes.
So when one of the husbands mentioned Golden Tea, I just popped my head up. I'm like, oh, I know all about Golden Tea. Let's talk about Golden Tea.
Mike plows through the table. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. What was that? Golden Tea?
Golden Tea? Did you say Golden Tea? I happen to be an expert in Golden Tea.
Yep. So yeah, but no, that's what I like. I like hanging out with like-minded people, just people that share my interests.
No, yeah, that's totally cool. In my hometown, they have, not my hometown. I call this my hometown now. It's not where I grew up, but this is where I became who I am, I guess. They have at the public library. They have Nintendo DSi nights. So they, I think it's like grades 6 through 12. Like you can bring your Nintendo DSi and you can play like.
Oh, in other words, you're too old.
Yeah, if I step one foot in there, then all of a sudden I'm on a list.
I know. But I'm saying what they have cool things. I'm kidding. They have cool programs like that. That's all I'm saying. It's like I think that.
No, I gotcha.
You could totally do something like that. So
yeah. I have, and it was difficult between choosing that and the other thing that I've got, but this is more of a bucket list thing. I want to get my voice into a video game sometime.
Oh yeah, I want to get my name into a video game. That actually is not that hard.
Yeah, I'm cheating on that. I did a Kickstarter for Jules Watchum's Chicken Wiggle.
Oh, you
so
did?
my name's in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So my name's going to be in that game. So there goes that. Now I got to get phase 2 out of the way.
Yeah. So Roger, when you eventually beat Moonlighter,
yeah,
and the credit sequence, it's like, I don't know, 60 seconds of people who actually made the game and like 14 minutes of the Kickstarter list. I was just like, holy cow, it doesn't end.
Oh, that's awesome. Mike, that would be cool. That would be cool to be in a video game, to have a voice in a video game. So if anybody out there is looking to have some voice actors,
hint.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Blue? What's your final?
So my final one is born of necessity because my backlog is getting out of control. What I want to do in 2019 is to force myself to beat a game before I buy a new one. I know.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Good luck.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I bet realistically I'll make it till February.
Wow.
Does getting a review code count as?
No, that does not count. That is work.
Okay. What was the last game that you bought, Blue?
I just bought Gris from Valcav's wonderful recommendation of it.
Yeah. Oh. Nice. Yeah.
So I know what we're going to hear about next week, right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I don't know.
You could join it. You could join our workout gaming group.
But
so
I thought
Roger
we were
and I will
playing Octopath.
Yeah, we'll be playing Octopath. Right. You can play
still need to beat that.
Oh yeah, because you have that too. Yeah,
I have that too, and I haven't beaten it.
To beat the sky too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Gris might just have to get in line and wait its turn.
I know, isn't that the saddest? Like when you have like, oh, okay, I just got this game, but you're gonna have to wait your turn. Because
I know, and it was kind of sad because I messaged Valcav and I told him, hey, I got that game, and then he messaged me like an hour later, and he's like, what do you think? I was like, oh, well, I didn't play it.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it.
No.
It's downloaded. I don't know when I didn't play it. He's like, well, when are you gonna play it? And I was like, soon?
I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. Like, yeah, Phil Hoff and myself are doing a podcast. It's a bi-weekly podcast that's going to be on the GamerHeads podcast network, where we go through our old games on our backlog, and we work through them, and then we talk about them. So we talked about What Remains of Edith Finch. We actually beat that game. That was really good. And now we're working on the Unfinished Swan, and I have not finished it yet, but
that kind of sounds like how it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's unfinished. But yeah, no, I my backlog, like, yeah, because Phil said, "What was your backlog look like?" I'm like, "Well, my PS3, I probably have over 500 games." He's like, "What?" That's like, yeah,
right. Yeah. And that's not even like if you are counting retro games that you missed the first time around, or that you played as a kid but never beat.
Yes, exactly. And that's just one system. Like, I know I probably have like close to 100 games on my Switch that I haven't beaten yet. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because when we were a kid, I think part of it is when we were kids, like, we didn't have the luxury of having as many games, so now I feel like I'm making up for it, right?
Exactly. That is so crazy how I feel that exact same way. I only had about like 5 or 6 games throughout the entire life cycle of the NES.
Yes.
Same with the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Then once I started making my own money, I'm like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this.
It's kind of like when you were a kid and your parents told you couldn't have the treat cereal, and you're like, oh hell no! Now that I'm an adult, I can eat as much Fruity Pebbles as I want.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's also those games that, I mean, even though they were one of the 6 that you owned when you were a kid, you were a kid, so you just couldn't do it.
Yes.
You just couldn't beat them, no matter how hard you tried.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So then you have to get them again.
Yeah, so then you have to get them again and be like, we have unfinished business, you and I.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny, like how, like looking back at that, when I had actual time is when I had the least amount of games.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you don't have time,
well, that's ironic.
Got these, yeah.
It's like a weird like bell curve or something. So cool. Well, listeners, what are some of your New Year's resolutions that you have? You can send us an email. You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can send us a tweet. That's probably the easiest way, and that's GamerHeadsPC. You can go online to our website, and that's gamerheadspodcast.com, and you can leave a message there as well. We would love to hear what your resolutions are for the new year regards to video games. It can be other things too. And the other thing I'll throw out there too, if you have questions for the cast, go ahead and ask questions. We'll have a question and answer section. It doesn't have to necessarily be all about video games. So if you have questions for us,
within reason,
we'll answer. Well, I mean, I'll go through them, and obviously the weird ones we won't answer, but maybe we will. Who knows? But yeah, we will maybe we'll even use them as an icebreaker. So send us questions. We would love to answer any questions you might have for the cast. So all right. Speaking of which, before we go, how can people get a hold of you, Mike?
You could find me on Twitter. I am at TC Throwers. You could also find the Controller Throwers podcast right here on GamerHeads podcast network at gamerheadspodcast.podbean.com and gamerheadspodcast.com. You could also find us on iTunes and Google Play, and you could find us streaming on twitch.tv/TC Throwers.
Nice. And yeah, Saturday nights. What time is it? What time do you do the Perlers?
Saturday Night Perlers. That is every Saturday night. Big surprise at 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right now, I'm working on the first 151 Pokemon from Pokemon Red and Blue, and I just last week finished Pikachu and Raichu. So we'll see which ones are next after that.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun. That's very chill. Blue, how can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is @WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
And listeners, you can get a hold of us. You can, again, find us on Twitter. That's at GamerHeadsPC. You can email us at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can also go on our website at gamerheadspodcast.com or go on Facebook at facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast. All right, Mike, thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Blue, thanks again for joining us.
You are welcome.
And listeners, thank you so much for listening to our show. Without you, we would not be here. Well, we would be here, just it would be boring. So I'm glad that you give us an hour and a half of your time each week. So we really appreciate it. All right. Well, until next week, we will talk to you later.
So long.
Bye.
So I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
So I was out for a run past a a graveyard, and as I ran past, I was thinking to myself, I drink water from the ground, and water seeps through these dead bodies. Am I drinking dead bodies, like, eventually? Do you guys ever think about that?
That's the only kind of water I drink.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm drinking, like, dead bodies. Like, right? I mean, hopefully it gets filtered out, right? The dead bodiness of it, right? I mean, eventually, don't you think that there's so many, like, eventually we'll have so many dead people that our water will be, like, penetrated with dead bodies, I think. I don't know. These are things I think about.
Yeah, no wonder you've got so many ghosts in your house. They're all angry that you're drinking them.
Yes, I think Mike has hit it on the head.